Alright, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. As always, I really do appreciate it, and welcome to Blue Lock Week, ladies and gents. Obviously, this isn't officially Blue Lock Week, no one coined it that specifically, but with Season 2 of the anime approaching very, very rapidly, on Saturday, keep in mind, welcome back Blue Lock Saturdays, I've been missing them, same as you guys. I decided that in the lead up to the premiere for the second season, I will be giving you guys banger after banger after banger, all involving Blue Lock leading up to Season 2's premiere. And what better way to get it started than going over the top 10 greatest, flashiest, and honestly, the most pivotal and most important goals that have ever been scored in the entirety of Blue Lock. Really quickly before we go any further though, make sure you guys go down below and check out the link for my Discord. But wait, that's not that Discord. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who have been around for a very, very long time, I am bringing back my old Discord server, Egoist Anonymous, the #1 place for all things Blue Lock. We have a huge and growing community that would love to talk about Blue Lock or just any other anime or manga that you are into for God knows how long. But yeah, with that said, you guys know the drill. Grab some snacks, fill those cups, sit back, relax, and enjoy. And let's get straight into this. Alright, first things first, let me get into the honorable mentions. Now, as far as the honorable mentions go, I actually have 5. It was really, really tough trying to just narrow the list down to 10, because once you put 10 up there, then another 10 pop into your head, and then another 10, then another 10. I feel like giving myself 5 honorable mentions is honestly the best way I could go, and if you guys want to see another list like this, then hey, let me know in the comments down below. First up, the lead actor appears. This is going to be Itoshi-sai's initial goal from the Blue Lock versus Japan U20 match. Not only is it one of the most high-skilled goals that we've seen up to this point, as we see Sai slot an absolutely insane shot past the entirety of the team, not only from an angle that nobody knew he could score from, but an angle that seemed almost impossible to score from. Something truly befitting of the prodigy of Japan and the true lead actor of the Japan U20 match. Next up, we got the B shot. The crowning moment for Meguru Bachota becoming the starting striker of FC Barca. The B shot, in my opinion, is the true expression of Bachota's play. Not only do we see how he's able to evolve his personal style so far from the 3rd selection in the U20 match all the way up to the Neo-Egoist League, but the way that he's able to combine it with Jingo, Lavinho's winning mentality, and overall just the flair and dramatics of this goal just have to give it the honorable mention slot for me. Up next, we have the sword screw. Now, I know this is kind of going to be a little bit of a shock to you guys. I'm not the biggest Yukimiya fan, admittedly, but I can't lie, this goal has really, really grown on me. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of the Manshine Bastard match, and the ending is one of my favorite parts of it, in part due to the fact that Yukimiya is able to overcome the adversities that he was previously facing in the match, taking a tool from the world's #2 Chris Prince and utilizing it himself, coming up with a variation of the gyro shot that he liked to call the sword screw. One of the best endings that we've seen to a match thus far in the manga, but sadly it's gonna have to stay as an honorable mention. We're almost there, I promise we're almost there, but next up is the 44 Panther Snipe. I know a lot of people, especially you Chigiri lovers, are really gonna be mad about this, but I'm sorry. I think when I get into some of the lists, you're gonna understand why the 44 Panther Snipe is where it is. Not only is this one of the more dominant displays that we do see, as Chigiri almost single-handedly destroys the entirety of Bastion Munich, but the fact that this is a replicable formula, meaning that Chigiri can utilize not just the shot, but the entirety of his movements leading up to the shot to almost guarantee himself a goal if he can get to that one spot. And I mean, hell, we saw him replicate it against the Ubers as well as PXG. I mean, he's the only one who could score right now. Nagi is literally in lockdown, and the 44 Panther Snipe is the only thing keeping Manshine's head above water. And then finally, rounding up the honorable mentions, I have Kaiser Impact 1 and 2. Honestly, I couldn't really choose which one I wanted to put above the other. If I had to choose myself, I'd probably put 2 over 1, even though the reason that I wanted to mention 1 in the same vein as 2 is because of the impact that it actually did have, no pun intended. But of course, the visual of Kaiser pronouncing that the entirety of Manshine City is fucking blind as he sends an absolute ripper past all their faces is something that truly never gets old. Sadly though, that still misses out on the top 10, which just goes to show how crazy all these goals are going to be. Alright, coming in at number 10, we have the King's Revenge. Coming at almost the pinnacle of the Japan U20 match was this game-tying goal, honestly the game-saving goal from the King himself, Baro Shoei. Someone with Baro's capabilities not getting a starting spot on the Blue Lock 11 roster is something that was honestly a little crazy for most of us to believe, but it was for a very good reason, and we saw it in play here. From the start, Baro Shoei was planned to be nothing more than a trump card utilized by Ego Jinpachi when he felt like there was no other hope. And lo and behold, he came through when they needed him to, overcoming his previous adversities as well as the inferiority that he felt in Isagi's presence, and the hatred that festered up from the moment that he lost to Isagi for the first time in the 2nd selection, leading to this absolute spectacle of a goal. As Baro charges through the defensive line with 2 people on his back, sliding on his knees and ripping that shit into the top corner, complete in all its majesty with him ripping off his shirt and screaming at the crowd. You really can't get any more Baro than this. Moving on to number 9, I feel like this is going to be pretty crazy for some of y'all. We have Two Gun. Now, don't get me wrong, this is one of the coolest moments and honestly one of the coolest spectacles that I probably have seen, especially upon rereading. I know I'm kind of an Isagi hater, but I really fuck with Two-Gun, especially after my rereads. I mean, come on, what can you not love about this? It has everything. Beautiful art style, an insane build-up, and of course, the level of opponent that this was hit on and the skill that it requires to pull off a goal like this is absolutely otherworldly. Not only this, but it had narrative implications due to the fact that Isagi utilized a lot of abilities from his prior adversaries, the opponents that he had previously devoured leading up to this moment in order to evolve himself further, showcasing what I believe is truly Isagi's powers, not just the metavision, not just his foresight, but his ability to adapt on the fly to any given scenario. And it can be seen perfectly here in this moment as we see not just Atoshi Rin, current #1 ranked player in the entirety of Blue Lock, the highest goal scorer in the Neo-Egoist League right now, but the other main rival for Isagi Yoichi, that being Michael Kaiser, the new Generation 11 striker, both doing the most to stop Isagi at all costs. And amongst all odds, with two adversaries who were on paper better than him in basically every single category, the genius of adaptability managed to do it again. Borrowing an ability from his boy Nagi Seishiro, utilizing his newfound ambidexterity from the Ubers match, which led to this absolutely cataclysmic goal. Now, the reason this is as important as it is because not where it took place in the match, not how cool it was or how cool it looked, but truthfully because it means that Isagi was able to create a replicable formula for scoring goals. What seems to be the main focus of Blue Lock, scoring goals and the most goals as much as you can, a task that Isagi has been trying to work towards for the entirety of the manga, in this moment feels like it's finally close to being achieved. And I honestly wish I could put it higher, but sadly there is just way too many more to go. Speaking of which, number 8, the crash out. Now, I love Atoshi Rin, and I'm not going to let recency bias get ahead of me right here. I feel like some people would put this a lot higher right now, but it's not that crazy. Like, don't get me wrong, the build-up to this goal is probably the craziest build-ups that we've seen in the entirety of the series, because Rin gives up like 4 scoring opportunities just to say, fuck it, I'm going to clip you, Isagi. I'm going to give it back to Charles. He's going to hit a clip on you guys. And then I'm going to hit a clip on you guys. You see what I'm saying here? I have a full-length video coming out about Rin, the crash out itself, and just everything that you kind of want to know about the recent goal, so kind of stay tuned for that. I'm not going to go too in-depth about it right now. But all you guys need to know is due to the fact that we had an awakened Atoshi Rin going up against some of the highest level of players that we have seen thus far in the manga in Bastion Munich, in the form of not just a newly awakened Michael Kaiser, but a newly awakened Isagi Yoichi, both devouring each other as well as Atoshi Rin at the current moment, while Rin was also having to fight off his own teammate in the form of Shido Ryusei. But of course, at the end of the day, none of the context was going to matter because it's Atoshi Rin in his Berserker flow state. And when you come up against Atoshi Rin in his Berserker flow state, you're just not going to win. A lesson that Isagi Yoichi quickly found out as he made contact in midair with Atoshi Rin, who made perfect contact with the ball, leading to what can only be referred to as the crash out. The byproduct of an awakened Atoshi Rin saying, "Go fuck yourself," to our main character, Isagi Yoichi. And honestly, while we're on the topic of Isagi's ops, we might as well move on to number 7 because we have the King Stands Tall, a goal which managed to tie the game at 2 apiece for the Ubers in the Bastion Munich match. This awakening was truly the moment Baro Shoei had been waiting for his entire life. Shortly before this goal, he resigned his position as the newly found king for the Ubers under the tutelage of Mark Snuffy. In Baro's eyes, he was being stopped by Isagi constantly. It was 4 times up to that point where Snuffy's plan failed and he was embarrassed by Isagi, the one person that he hates more than anybody, the reason that he's pushing as hard as he is. So, in true Baro fashion, he says, "Nah, I'ma do my own thing." Usurping the Ubers, taking control of the entirety of the team, demanding the presence of everyone around him to follow his rule once and for all. For the first time in the entirety of the series, Baro Shoei is seen working with a team. Not only is he passing back and forth, but he's able to actually synergize and cooperate with people that aren't just him or it being just an accident. Mixing this team play alongside his otherworldly chop dribbles, which we saw awaken in the heat of this match, when we see Baro send a ripping ground shot in between the legs of Michael Kaiser and Isagi Yoichi, leading to the 2-2 score for the Ubers against Bastion Munich. Not only did this tie up the match, not only was this one of the most game-shaking moments that we've seen thus far, but it cements Baro's placement amongst the top strikers in the entirety of Blue Lock, something that we all knew, but makes it almost kind of just a fact at this point. Especially with the statements from Noel Noah and Mark Snuffy following the goal itself, it's clear to see that Baro is truthfully one of the best strikers that we have in the entirety of Blue Lock, and it's going to remain that way for a long time. All right, going on to number 6. we have the Big Bang Drive. Probably the most iconic goal to come from the entirety of the manga. I think everybody knows and loves Big Bang Drive. Spawned by one of Itoshi-Sai's brilliant passes, getting reacted to really quickly by Gin Gagamaru, the striker acting as a pseudo goalkeeper for the Blue Lock 11 in the Japan U20 match. Now obviously this was kind of a lucky one. The positioning is something that you don't see normally and only really happen in the one given scenario, but that really doesn't matter because that one given scenario resulted in a goal, and the goal was scored by none other than Shido Ryusei. Anytime you involve Shido Ryusei, it's obvious he's going to score in some sort of an insane manner. Whether he's curing cancer, doing a backflip, or kicking someone in the fucking face, chances are he's going to be able to score from no matter what position he's in. And as we can see here, Big Bang Drive is the obvious representation of that scoring ability. Finding himself what seems to be 40 to 50 meters away from the net, he decides to just let an absolutely insane super shot rip, resulting in the Big Bang Drive. The absolute explosion of Shido Ryusei cells dividing for the sole sake of his goal. This being his second goal since getting subbed into the match, resulting in one of the most insane moments in the entirety of the Blue Lock manga. I feel like in past lists and mostly other people's lists, this will probably be in the top 3, so seeing that it's fallen down to number 6 is kind of insane for most, but sadly that's just where it's going to end up on my list. Finally, cracking into the top 5, we have Livigno's Dance of Death. Honestly, one of my personal favorite goals and probably the best celebration that we've seen in the entirety of the manga thus far. Livigno is otherworldly. I mean, it's obvious at this point he is one of the master strikers that we have seen in the Neo-Egoist League, on the same par as Noel Noah, Mark Snuffy, Chris Prince, and the other world-class players that we've been introduced to, but in Livigno's case, it's a lot more entertaining. Not only is his playstyle electrifying and just pops off the page, but he's one of the most charismatic and animated characters that we do have, and that's displayed perfectly throughout this goal. As we can see the image of a free butterfly flowing throughout the entirety of Bayern Munich's offense, defense, midfield, any part of the team, Livigno is picking them apart. Following the stupid intervention of Isagi Yoichi into his one-on-one against Noel Noah, he managed to shake the world's number 1, and the rest, as you all know, was history. A true dance of death for anyone who approached the Brazilian master striker. Topped off, of course, by probably the best celebration in the entirety of the manga thus far. Livigno, congrats, number 5. Moving into the number 4 spot, we have A Hero Is Born. Now this one's kind of going to be crazy for some of you because I feel like most people are still going to have this as number 1, but here at the number 4 spot, I have placed Isagi's winning goal in the Japan U20 match. Honestly, I can't lie, in terms of importance, this is probably number 1. Besides whoever wins the PXG match and scores the winning goal there, that's probably going to take over from now on. But as far as importance, at least leading up to right now, this is probably number 1. Not only was it the culmination for our main character, the payoff and results of everything that he's worked for, and more than anything, just victory for the characters that we've grown to know and love, this goal has everything you could possibly ask for. The funniest part about the entire goal is it has nothing to do with the person who scored it. The main story and narrative going on in the chapter leading up to the goal is about Itoshi Rin and Itoshi Sai and the brotherly conflict that they've faced throughout their entire lives. It's a beautiful story, and I have broken down chapter 147 in depth. If you want to go see that video, I'll leave the link down below or just pin it somewhere right here. But of course, not too many people are going to remember what got you there. They're going to remember the end result, and that of course was an Isagi Yoichi goal, giving the Blue Lock 11 the victory against the Japan U20 national team. Again, a lot of you guys are probably going to have this in your top 3, potentially even number 1. It was number 1 on my personal first list, but sadly it's fallen off a little bit here, and I'm sorry if that's going to, ruffle a little bit of feathers, but really don't care what you think. This is my list. Go fuck yourselves. All right, we made it. Top 3 time. First up, the shot heard round Japan. Coming at the climax of the Bayern Munich versus Ubers match, one of the most insane, jaw-dropping, neck-snapping, and just overall entertaining matches that we have seen thus far in the manga. Not only does it have atmosphere, not only does it have build-up, not only does it make sense narratively due to everything that we've gone through in the third selection, in the Ubers match itself, in the entirety of the NEL, resulting in a good payoff for Hiyori as well as Isagi, and bringing hope to all of those in Japan who've been waiting for the rise of new superstars. With this one goal, it seems like everything's changed for the entirety of Blue Lock, and the rest of the Blue Lockers are just on a completely different level when compared to Isagi Yoichi and Yo Hiyori at the current moment. Managing to get past the absolutely elite Ubers defense with little to no difficulty and linking up without even looking at each other, leading to probably the greatest chemical reaction that we've seen up to this point in the manga, and giving the win to Bayern Munich against the Ubers in the Neo-Egoist League. I feel like a lot of you were expecting this one to be number 1, so don't get your panties in a twist. We still got 2 more, but yeah, this is deserving of a top 3 spot, and I really don't think I could place it lower than this. Moving on to the runner-up, and it pains me to put it here, but I'm still happy to say that my boy still got a little bit of pull. We have Nagi's 5-shot revolver. Now, I know a lot of you guys are going to be like, this is just huge glazing, huge bias, and honestly, you can say however you want, and you can throw a fit as much as you'd like. Nothing is going to take away from the absolutely monumental moment that was Nagi hitting the 5-shot revolver, surpassing not just his own limitations with his laziness, his mentality, and just the people around him, but managing to overcome not just one, but 2 Metavision users in the form of Isagi Yoichi and Michael Kaiser. An Isagi who, up to this point, seems to have Nagi's number no matter what, and is the reason that Nagi's currently playing football. Say what you want about Nagi now, the downfall is pretty tragic, but in this moment, Nagi Seishiro truly was the best player in the world. Not just 1, not just 2, not just 3, but 4 fake volleys, leading to a 5th final volley in which he finally lets a shot go into the back of the net, proclaiming that he is the best player in the world as he sends an absolute piss missile past Gengagamaru into the back of the net, giving Manshine City the lead, and bringing back hope to Manshine City that they could actually win the match. Again, I understand a lot can be said about Nagi's recent developments, just the downfall that he's had, and honestly the fluke aspects of this goal. I feel like that's honestly the biggest retraction that people do say about the 5-shot, is that it's a fluke and he can't replicate it. Nevertheless, whether it be a fluke, whether it be a one-time thing, it doesn't matter due to the fact that it happened. He pulled it off. He still scored the goal. Even if it's not something that he can replicate every single time, the goal itself, for what it's worth, is once in a lifetime. It's a miracle, and it's deserving of the number 1 spot, but honestly, my personal opinion has shifted, and I had to give it the number 2, so runner-up, congratulations to the 5-shot. But lo and behold, there can be only one, and who else to hold the crown other than the Emperor himself, Michael Kaiser, with the Kaiser Impact Magnus. Not only did we get the payoff to Michael Kaiser's personal arc, definitely the most batshit and tragic backstory that we've seen thus far in the series, and one of the most powerful messages that we do have behind any of the players, the true intentions of Michael Kaiser and the way that he plays soccer have been revealed, and through this goal, we do get to see just how great he truly is and is capable of being. Overcoming all the adversity that he's had to deal with in the past, whether it be his abusive father, whether it be the negativity of his teammates, whether it be people incoming to try and take his spot, no matter what, Michael Kaiser has always reigned supreme until he was faced with the egoist Isagi Yoichi. It was against this opponent that he was faced with the overwhelming odds that he faced when he was growing up under the guise of his abusive father. A feeling of hopelessness and anguish that he thought he had banished forever and that he truly thought to be rid of for good. All simply demons manifesting in the form of Isagi Yoichi, leading to one truly remarkable event: the creation of a brand new weapon, the Kaiser Impact Magnus, a variation of the breathtaking Kaiser Impact, the fastest shot swing in the world that allows Kaiser to bend the ball with an absolutely insane trajectory, making even the air his ally. I know I said it with Nagi, but in this moment, once the ball left his feet and managed to make it into the back of the net, Michael Kaiser truly became the best player in the world of Blue Lock. And for that, I can't put it anywhere lower than the number 1 spot on this list. Okay, well, that's going to do it for today. Let me know if you agree with my list, disagreed. Again, I really don't care. Your opinion's your opinion. Mine's mine. Mine just happens to be a little bit better. But yeah, with that said, I think that's all I got for you guys today. Love you guys. Take it easy.